And welcome everyone to another issue of Beyond the Cowl. This is issue number 7. I'm
Yeah, man.
I'm
We're on a
here.
roll here.
We're on a roll. We got issue number 7. Just to start off the podcast, just because I always forget to do it, and I want to try to make it a habit. This is a spoil-filled podcast. We talk a lot about news, but we do talk a lot about the new stuff going in, especially future state going on right now. So if you're thinking to yourself, "Oh wait, I haven't read Dark Detective or any of the future state yet," pause, go read it, come back, and then hear us talk about what we think, what we liked, and what we didn't like about some of the new comics and news. So just giving everyone's a heads up. Spoiler alert. Huge spoiler alerts.
Yeah, for sure, man. Read the book, form your own opinions. Don't just we're just some guys on the tube, man. Don't take our word for it. These are just our opinions, and like I said, you read the book for yourself, make your own opinions.
I love that. We're just a couple guys on the tube.
Who
That's
listens
just
to us anyways, you know?
that was super. That was super. I love that. Hey, from coming from the guys on the tube.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
But
so a lot of exciting news happening this coming up week, or this past week.
oh yeah, man. There's always something going on, especially in the world of comics, and you got movies and everything that's entailed in that little hobby. There's always going to be news and stuff like that. So it's always always things going on.
Yeah. So, what do you want to dive in? You want to dive into some DC stuff or some Marvel stuff first?
Oh, we can dive into some DC stuff. Yeah, let's do that.
If you haven't noticed, everyone who's listening, that we're kind of more of a DC driven podcast. We do love Marvel, but our favorite is definitely DC.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Everyone likes to try to say neutral. Oh, I like DC and I like Marvel, but you know what? I'm standing here firm saying I'm more of a DC person.
Yeah, of course, man. It is what it is. I mean, everybody's gonna have their own personal taste, and ours just happens to be DC, and there's nothing wrong with that, and nothing wrong with being a Marvel, a Marvel fan. So they're killing it on movies, so can't you never can never deny that, even if you're a DC fan. So to each their own, and everybody has different taste.
Absolutely. Well, my favorite DC news is Zack Snyder has come out and said that basically no 4-part series. It's gonna be a 4-hour long movie.
Oof, that's gonna be you better grab an empty bottle so that way if you have to go pee, you don't have to move or miss anything. Well, I guess you could pause it too, so
You could pause it, but
that's a good thing about it.
what loser pauses it? I mean, with hey, if you watch, there's no theater release, so you can actually pause it. I remember there's been times where I've like thought to myself, especially during like the first couple of Avengers, where I'm like, okay, if I drink this time and I pee at this time, I can space it out. And there's definitely been times where I just can't hold it, and I'm just like, okay, okay, I gotta run. And I literally have sprinted in theaters before because I didn't want to miss any scenes.
Yeah, man, and I'm trying to look up how long the first movie was because I want to see, um, you know,
For,
what difference in time it is, what Zack Snyder's doing. So,
I mean, it's got to be what, at
but
least an hour, and it's got to be at least an hour and a half longer. Because here's the thing: if you think movie wise, 2 hour, 2.5 hour movie that takes months to do, and the fact that he's adding a lot of that's probably honestly my biggest worry with Justice League is that there is this much extra content to make the movie 4 hours long. But like, how can you assure you're going to still be delivering quality over quantity?
yeah, so that's kind of how I feel about Wonder Woman, man. I feel like there's a lot of scenes that they could have done without.
Hmm.
I'm just hoping that Zack Snyder, the direction he's going, what he's adding, actually adds to the movie because it looks like the previous runtime was 120 minutes. Now it's going to be double. It's pretty much going to be double that. So you got 4 hours of film. Last time you had two. Um, I wonder why they decided to go ahead and just make it a one shot kind of movie instead of breaking it up into series where you can keep, like if you release them like, well, I guess you'd have to release them all at the same time because nobody's gonna want to watch half of a movie or quarter of a movie one week, a quarter of a movie the next week. So
So
I guess it makes sense.
So my thought, so literally what you just said is exactly what I was thinking. Doing an hour long episode, but in the length of a month, it's gonna get old. Like maybe the first week is gonna be the highest ratings, right? Because it's the first time seeing it. But what if we don't see new content till episode two? Our new, I mean, I'm sure you see new content each episode, but like I would be kind of mad if I watched the first episode and the first episode was literally the first hour of Justice League One, and there's nothing new. Now I gotta wait a week and a half to see the second part. Also, like you said, people are gonna get kind of over it, especially if the first or second episode are terrible. What would make them want to watch the third and fourth? So I think keep it relevant and to make sure that it gets as much exposure as it needs, just in case it is a flop. I'm just saying, just in case, release it at one time. Do 4 hours, watch 2 hours, pause, stretch, watch another 2 hours. That's what I did with Batman versus Superman. When the extended version, when it was 3.5 hours long, I watched the first hour and a half. I took a break, came back at it about an hour and a half, 2 hours later, rewatched the other hour and a half.
Yeah. Yeah, so, hopefully, like I said, hopefully what he's adding to this film is gonna bring more, bring it to a level that, that can compete with, an Avengers Infinity Wars or Endgame. So, I'm excited for the release. Definitely gonna watch it all the way through. Um, so we'll see how it comes out. And something that I've definitely been waiting a long time for ever since they started talking about it before this was even announced. The
Mm-hmm.
Snyder Cut, man. And yeah, so I mean he has a good eye, in my opinion, he has a good eye for, the film and the DC universe. So I'm looking forward to it. I think it's gonna be good.
I think it's gonna be good too. Jared Leto said in an interview, they asked him like, "Oh, how was it going back and reprising the role for your second time?" And he said it was good. He said he says that Zack Snyder is a madman, and he basically said that Joker's gonna be a new appearance. So from when we seen him last to now is like the second time we kind of really see him. So he says in his words that he's gonna be more of a road wary Joker.
Yeah, and I think Zack Snyder, what didn't he say he wanted to write a Joker comic book which kills Robin, you
Uh,
know?
uh,
I think he said something like that.
oh, maybe if
Yeah,
if everyone, do you ever hear that conspiracy theory when they let the voters vote? It's in the Red Hood like extras in the DVD. They talk about the story. Basically, if anyone didn't know, at the time when Jason Todd was killed, they people voted to kill Robin or not to kill Robin, and they let you vote by calling a number. Well, there's this conspiracy theory that someone in California rigged a telephone system to keep redialing the number so that they would kill off Jason Todd.
I wouldn't put it past him, man.
And they actually were
Yeah,
gonna,
and I have heard that before too, actually.
yeah.
So, that makes it interesting. You leave, the fate of a character up to you know, fans, I guess, or people who follow the book, which is really interesting on a publisher standpoint, I guess. Um, but getting back to the movie, with everything going on with Ray Fisher, and Cyborg,
Mm-hmm.
um, that's that man. If you describe somebody going out on the shield, I think that's the definition of somebody going out on the sword, man. That guy's he's wilding out with, all this. I don't know if you heard the audio leak or
No,
the
I
audio recording that he had
wait. He had an auto.
with
No, I
HR.
didn't.
Yeah, he had it on his social media.
Oh, really?
Um,
Hang on.
yeah, an audio. He recorded audio. I think it was somebody from the H. I think it was somebody from HR from Independent from DC, I guess, or from Warner Media, and he kind of leaked it. So it's on his
Really?
social media. Yeah,
So
yeah,
I just googled Ray Fisher audio leaks. I'm gonna look that up later. I did not hear that. I mean, hey man.
yeah.
I mean, look, that is. I give kudos to him, bro, because so many like you get the opportunity to play a character in a comic book movie that you will be immortalized as that person is pretty important. Despite if it's DC or Marvel or any other companies that do comic book movies. But like the fact that like they're not gonna recast him as Cyborg, which I'm bummed. I thought he was a cool looking Cyborg. I wish I can see more Cyborg. And but you know what? Keep your integrity. And honestly, I might take him way further in his career. So I'm actually kind of interested to see what's gonna happen with everything.
Y- Yeah, and if I'm Warner Media, I'd be kind of a little bit scared and concerned because this man's gonna he's already out of. I think they wrote him out of the Flash, is what they said,
Yep.
and he's gonna if he's on this crusade to to get his word out. And I'd be scared if I was Warner Media and his whole thing against Joss Whedon and Jeff
Hmm.
Johns, and then the whole workplace environment scandal, and Walter Hamada. He's encouraging or allowing that to happen. So he's got he obviously has something there. I mean, credit to the guy and respect to the guy, because he's laying it all on the line, and he's gonna go out like that, man, just guns a blazing. Because I don't know how you can unbury your career from what you just did, but
I don't know.
you know,
He's got a lot of support though. I mean, Jason Momoa has come out and be like, "Yo, I support my dude," and all this stuff. And so it's kind of weird because he's promoting Zack Snyder's Justice League, but at the same time, he's also promoting, you know, Ray Fisher. So it's like, Jason, what are you gonna pick? You're gonna pick your co-host and the whole, just being actual like justice, if you in that way, or are you gonna keep your job and
yeah. Well, I think Jason's got so big where with the first Aquaman, I think grossing over $1 billion.
hmm
I think it was. He can pretty much say,
whatever he wants?
yeah, at this point, because he is Aquaman, and the way that film did, I mean, you can't lose him as a character, playing, the character of Aquaman.
Yeah, he made
And
Aquaman cool again.
but who really knows? What the work. It's all speculation, and I think Ray Fisher's holding back a lot because it has to do with ongoing investigation. I don't know if it's still ongoing or if it's over. But whenever legal matters get involved, you kind of limit it to what you can say and what you can put out.
Hmm.
So, like I said, it's who really knows what went on unless you were actually there. Otherwise it's just speculation and conjecture.
Absolutely.
So, but
Yeah. So I
yeah,
mean,
man.
that's I mean, besides comic news, which that's what we're going to talk about. Movie news, that's all I've really seen, and then everything's just kind of more wrapped around Justice League, hyping up what Justice League, and then hyping up Future State, and then what else is wait, what am I having on a blank? What else is coming out cinema? Oh, the Flash movie. There we go. That's what it was on the tip of my tongue. The Flash movie and everything like that. But low key, Marvel's setting themselves up for a nice next. What is this? Phase 4?
Yeah, well, you got if I was yeah, if I was well, you saying Marvel, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like
Yeah,
DC.
if
Like,
I was if I was the mouse, man, I would tell Kevin Feige, plan out as far ahead as you possibly can, man, because there's Kevin Feige is single-handed. Well, now with the Star Wars, with John Favreau and Filoni on Star Wars,
mm-hmm,
kind of bringing a resurgence to them. Kevin Feige's done so much for the MCU, and just like he's one of a kind, and it's gonna be. I mean, who really is gonna duplicate, what he can do or what he did for the Marvel universe? Nobody. So it's just one of those things where he just has that, you know, he has that direction of where like his direction is golden, man.
yeah. I mean,
He's got the golden touch when it comes to the MCU.
yeah. His vision has just been perfect, and it's bringing us so many good movies. I mean, I'm literally looking at the Phase 4 like COVID-19 update roster for even just 2021, bro. Like, DC had such a good opportunity to get ahead of things, but I mean, we got like Falcon the Winter Soldier, Black Widow, Eternals. WandaVision came out, which I know you and your wife watched that. We got the Loki, which I think Loki looks okay. I saw the trailer. Spider-Man 3, which they're banging that thing out real quick. What If is going to be my most anticipated one I want to watch. I mean,
Yeah.
and then also like even for the extended version or extended Phase 4, I'm super excited to see when they start announcing casting and some early news on Fantastic Four.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, I think a lot of people are Fantastic Four is the first family, like one of the first families, and I think there's a huge following for Fantastic Four and for the mutants, man. It and
Mm-hmm.
with Deadpool, I think he just got confirmed that he was going to get
Rated R.
a rated R. Yeah, so I mean that's the direction you go with that character. I mean, he's he's more of an adult character. Obviously, you're gonna get younger adults and kids in there to see that movie because it's not. I mean, it's a Disney movie and he's mutant. So a lot of you have a big following. Um, he's money, man. Deadpool is money for them, and
Yeah.
that's smart what they're doing. And like I said, Kevin Feige knows what he's doing. Oh, here's the article right here.
Well, very
Uh,
very similar to how like what we were saying, like Jason Momoa, how he can kind of get away with anything because he's Aquaman. I mean, Ryan Reynolds is Deadpool.
yeah,
Like Deadpool
yeah,
has such a loyal following that
he's
if they did anything besides rated R, the fans would freak out.
yeah, and he's come a long way from Green Lantern. I think
Oh
it's safe
my
to
god,
say.
from Hal Jordan. Oh my god, someone legitimately told me Green Lantern was a good movie, and I was like, oh my god. I'm like, no, it was not.
You're always gonna have you're always gonna have people that like I said, it's just a matter of opinion, man. There's gonna be people that probably love that movie, which I think it was garbage, but it's just it's all an opinion. You can
It,
love a movie. I mean, I love Justice League. A lot of people didn't, so
mm-hmm.
everyone has a different flavor.
What's your like what is your favorite shitty comic book movie? Like a comic book movie that everyone agrees, like 90% of the population agrees this is trash, but you're like, I really like
Ooh.
it.
Ooh. That's a hard one, man. Because there's been a lot of duds in the DC, man. But
Mm-hmm.
it's what's yours? You go ahead first, because I'm trying to think
Okay.
about it.
My favorite dud is probably Ben Affleck's Daredevil.
Okay. Okay.
That one
Um,
and probably Ghost Rider. I really, really, really liked Ghost Rider.
yeah. I mean, a lot of people consider Justice League a dud, so I would have to say that. I mean, that's one of. I mean, I was watching it just today. Actually, it was on Cartoon Network.
Wait,
So
Justice
yeah,
League
they
was?
debuted it. It was on yeah, Justice League was on Cartoon Network. I was just watching it just today.
Oh my god, I didn't know that. Oh wow. Speaking of Marvel, sorry, this just popped up on my computer. Marvel reportedly wants Deadpool and Spider-Man 2 and Daredevil to co-op in a movie, and then apparently Charlie Cox, the actor who played Daredevil on Netflix, has
Yeah.
reportedly signed on for multiple MCU projects, including filming a scene to be Peter Parker's lawyer in Spider-Man 3. So we're gonna see Matt Murdock, maybe not so much Daredevil, but we'll be seeing Matt Murdock soon.
Dude, you know who they need to bring out? Which
Hmm.
dude, uh, John Bernthal.
Oh my god, I well apparently, oh god, and I don't remember the actor's name. The actor who originally played the Punisher in the first movie
Yeah.
wants to make a Punisher movie with Don Berthal as Punisher. I think he wants to. I think he wants to direct it. What's his name? I gotta look it up.
Dude, to me, John Berthal's Punisher is comparable to Heath Ledger's Joker.
Oh,
Like, I mean, that's he
uh,
just embodies for me, he just embodies the Punisher. I mean, obviously, Heath Ledger
was it?
is on a different level,
Well, he was also an underdog. No one
but
expected Heath Ledger to do that. John Berthal, when he
yeah,
came out as doing Punisher, everyone was kind of like, "Oh fuck yeah, I can see that."
the guy from The Walking Dead?
But hey, honestly, I really enjoyed him more in season two than I did in season one. Season one was good, but season two, man, the whole construction opening of season two, I thought was so cool.
Yeah, man. I think that's probably one of my favorite Netflix, MCU shows.
Oh,
So,
absolutely.
it yeah, man. I think that's gotta be my favorite. And then I just found the article with what is it, with Kevin Feige and Marvel planning 5 to 6 years in advance, the studio is already considering what will happen in the MCU in 2025 and 2026. Speculation speculation suggests that mutants will play a big part in the future of the MCU. The
Uh,
Disney acquisition of the 20th Century Fox brought the X-Men and all associated mutants back to the Marvel stable. So
Yeah, because I can't remember if I told you this. It's like I read online somewhere. It's rumored that they're thinking of doing a X-Men versus Avengers movie, right?
yeah, and I actually have that whole series of comic books when they
When they did that.
when they release those ones. Yeah.
Is-
So I mean that'd be pretty cool. I mean, there's a ton of different ways that they can introduce mutants into the MCU, and no doubt about it, they know what they're doing. So I mean, there's no way they're gonna put out a bad introduction of mutants into the MCU.
Mm-hmm. Because that's the funny thing that a lot of people don't know is that mutant and like in Marvel's original IP, you can't say mutant. You said humans with extraordinary abilities or metahumans or whatever, but mutants was solely for Fox movies only. So basically, bringing mutant as like a possible threat to them to because they can set up to them fighting, which you can see your heroes fight again like Civil War, and then ultimately they find a common enemy which makes them work together to eventually fight the common enemy, and then you got the next really big climactic big threat to the MCU universes that has to take mutants and the heroes that we've known together to beat that villain.
Right. And I think the next. I gotta think. I don't remember if I read it somewhere or not. I think the next MCU big villain is going to be King the Conqueror.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what it was. But you know, I'm whatever MCU movies they're releasing, I'm watching anyway, so it doesn't really matter to me, I guess.
Yeah, no, anything that has an MCU branded on it. I'm a little laggy in all the shows though. I haven't started WandaVision yet, but is WandaVision out in entirety, or are they only doing so many releases?
The first 2 episodes are out, and that's of
Uh,
today.
okay, so it's not. So they're
Well,
doing how.
it came out on Friday. Today's Monday, so
Gotcha. Cool, cool, cool. Yeah. Do you have anything else
yeah.
you want to throw in for news? Anything else that you've seen so far?
Oh, yeah. Um, did you see I sent you the other day that Batman #1
Yeah, selling for
selling at
uh
2.2 million, I think it
mm-hmm.
was? Let me see. 2.22 million at Heritage Auctions, a
So,
9.4, the single highest copy of Batman #1. And
sold.
if you really think about it, the book was released in 1940. So you have to think how long it survived in that condition. And 9.4, sometimes you can send in a modern book, and get a 9.4 back from CGC.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how you get a Batman #1 9.4.
I
I d-
mean,
I it's almost impossible,
it's like it
you
has.
know.
I mean, I literally someone bought it and consciously saved it. It had to like be someone who like kept it in like a really good condition, and then someone else who understands the value of comics must have stumbled upon it and got it early on, like got it when maybe they were either giving it to them or were able to buy it at a decent price, and then it's just something that maybe has just been passed down. I don't know. It doesn't. They don't tell you why, like how it managed. It's just all speculation, like how people would do that.
Yeah, dude, that thing to be honest, it's just a freak of nature, man. Like uh,
I don't know,
if
man.
you want to,
There's.
you get in Batman #1, you have the first appearance of the Joker and the first appearance of Catwoman.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, it's just to give you some reference right here. I was looking at the article in Bleeding Cool. It says the lofty numbers are driven by an obvious demand versus supply market dynamic. The CGC census currently has 124 unrestored entries for Batman #1, with only a small handful of those listed at CGC 8.0 or above. High grade unrestored copies of this comic don't change hands at public sale very often. In 2019, 8.0 copy sold for $498,000. Several years prior, in 2013, a CGC 9.2 copy, currently the second highest copy in CGC census, sold for 567,625.
Oh wow.
So, you know, and just the other day we were talking about, what was it, action, not action, Detective Comics 27 selling for another record. It's crazy, man. Who's putting all this? I feel like maybe it's like Wall Street guys or stock guys that are putting money, they get bored of putting money into stocks, so they find a different hobby or something.
And they're
Who has that kind of money,
I
you
mean,
know?
especially now with COVID, that's an expensive habit. Like who has like we were talking about earlier, like I wish I had that kind of money. Like who has $2 million to just spend on a book? Like as much
I
as we love these comic books, at the end of the day, it's a thin piece of book with paper, and you're buying it for
yeah,
$2 million. Now I'm not saying if I had the money, that would be such an awesome flex. You'd be like, oh, you have a nice collection. Let me show you my prized possession down in my fireproof cellar that no one can get into, and it has lasers and fingerprint scanning. Like
dude, I know. What do you do with a book? Like you have 2 million, $2.2 million just sitting around. Like, what if something happens, man?
you don't
Like,
keep it. You don't keep
I
that in your
mean,
house. You have
dude, you can't even display. You almost can't display it.
No, because I mean, any form of sun or extra light exposure, even if it's sealed correctly, could ultimately damage it. Especially it being that old, bro. It has to be like in like a stainless steel box that is fireproof and is probably somewhere in like a trust bank where you can keep your precious. It's honestly, it's probably not even anywhere on the premise that the person owns, unless they, if you have 2 million, if I spent $2.2 million on a comic book, I'm spending probably another $1 million on making sure that I have like security and some sort of thing that no matter what I do will never destroy this particular container. I don't know, man. I can't even form a thought of what I would do because I can't even imagine that being possible.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, who the hell would you want even knowing that you have that kind of book?
Well,
Like,
remember the whole the theft of that celebrity's house that people thought it was Nicolas Cage and they stole all those comics.
yeah, yeah,
Quick way
yeah,
to get
man.
jacked.
Oh, and then we were talking. Remember, I think on the earlier podcast we were talking about the Detective Comics number 277.0. That one sold for 1.5 million
Mm-hmm.
um in 2020. So, that's just give you a little reference. The first appearance of Batman, 7.0 sold for 1.5 million, and this Batman number 1 sells for 2.22 million. So, but it's obviously a 9.4. I mean, dude, it's just it's almost like I don't know how you keep it that way for that long, that book in that kind of condition. It just boggles my mind.
Bro, I'm telling you, like I was telling you about my coworker who claims that he might have issues number 3, 4, and 5 of Spider-Man. It's literally like, I truly believe that somewhere on planet Earth there is a basement or attic or whatever that has a box that has literally been sitting there for decades that has pieces of gold like what we're seeing being sold today. And I honestly think people find them and don't understand what they have and they just leave them there, or they do get it appraised. I mean, so many times you hear people being like, oh, my dad, my grandpa, my great grandpa, whatever, has left me these comics. And then they just don't go through them because they might not be a fan or they might not like them. And then someone obtains that box, goes through it, and realizes this is a gold mine. So I think, like, I still think, like, I know there's only like a couple copies of like these rare comics, but I think there's more than what we think because I think they're hiding in boxes that no one has even opened in decades.
Yeah, but see, the thing is, 1940. I mean, there's nobody bagging and boarding a comic book. You're getting it off a shelf. I mean, at that point, it's not worth anything.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Batman number 1, okay, the character's popular, but
I
it's
wonder what would a Batman issue number 1 sell for back in the 40s? What do you think?
10 cents.
I have a.
So I
Oh
mean,
my
but
god.
but but, but money back then is a little obviously it's different
Oh,
because
way
inflation
different.
and everything like that, and yeah, it's a little bit different, but it's 10 cents. I mean, you're getting the book. You're probably you get it off a shelf. You're reading it. It doesn't go in a bagging board. I mean, I don't know how you keep in that condition, man. It doesn't make sense, but
Maybe some.
2.2 million,
Yeah.
that's what it's worth, and I guess if I had that much money, I'd be buying that thing too.
See, a random thought I always think to myself, I started thinking about this after I watched Hot Tub Time Machine, was if I went back in time, I would buy stocks, right? I would invest and I would leave the account in for my name to be accessed when I'm 18. So things like Google and Yahoo and Apple and all this stuff I would invest in would be worth a ton of money. But I don't know. But and now I'm thinking to myself, maybe I should just go back in time and buy these first releases of these comics, bring it and like seal it or bring it back with me to the future and then seal it and then just be like, I got this. What is this worth? And then make myself my nut and then get out of town.
Yeah, man. Or you could have invested in Tesla stock about a year ago, which was like it's like $200 or something, or $100 and something like that. It
You,
just shot up just
oh my
all
god, who? Okay,
crazy, man.
um, Jamie Lynn. Oh no, wait, was it Jamie Lynn Spears? Hang on, a famous a famous actor or musician. I forgot who, and I'm terrible at this. Just report like, came out publicly saying that Elon Musk owes her a new cat because a Tesla ran over her cat because the Teslas are so quiet. Yeah, I don't
Like the
know.
cat didn't see that one coming, huh?
Yeah, I don't
That's
know.
an understatement.
I don't know if I don't know if it's oh, it's Jamie Lynn Spears.
Yeah, man. I think Elon Musk just became the richest man in the world or something like that.
And he went ahead and said, oh, that's cool. All right, back to work.
Yeah, man. So,
Yeah,
um,
CNN. It's on
Tesla.
CNN. Jamie Lynn Spears blames Elon Musk and Tesla for killing her cats.
Yeah, man. You made a car that's too quiet and works too well, I guess, huh?
Mm,
That's what happens here in America. When you do something good, somebody's trying to bring you down, you know?
absolutely. Um, well, if there's no other news, you want to start jumping in some future state?
Yeah, man. Which book did you want to start off with first?
I'm thinking we should cover Dark Detective. Obviously, anyone listening, we're definitely gonna start planning on figuring out how to build more content where we have more time to individually talk about each books. A lot of things with these future state books that we've been getting is you get more than one story in the book, so it ends up making them longer books. So essentially, you get two for one, which has been cool. So we're gonna cover some of our favorite ones, and then and if and then down the line we'll start covering them individually in a lot more detail.
Yeah, and I mean, look, you can really go into a book into detail, and we can probably spend an hour talking about a book, but I mean, you want to break it down and keep it interesting. So we just, go over what we thought was interesting, what we liked about it, and read the book. It's a
Mm-hmm.
good book.
Well, I think we should start with Teen Titans because out of the ones I read, that one honestly was probably like my favorite.
Oh yeah, Teen Titans. I think there's a lot of people high on that one, especially because you have the new mysterious Red X character, which there's a lot of speculation. I
Mm-hmm.
think I said before who it was. I thought, before it was Clown Hunter. I'm kind of leaning now more towards Damien, but I mean, who knows? We'll when it gets revealed, we'll see. And everybody, who knows? Everybody might be wrong, but there's just certain things in the book that lead me to believe it's Damien, just from some of the dialogue. But I mean, I thought it was a good book. It's just there's so much going on in the book, so it kind of leaves you with a lot of questions. What did you think about it?
I thought it was actually really good. I wasn't expecting to be thrown into this future, and it's kind of and what I like about it the most is that it takes place in a time to where Nightwing is in Gotham and has been in Bloodhaven, and when he comes back, kind of the feel of the original Teen Titans team towards him, like Starfire keeps calling him Nightwing, and he goes, "Why do you keep calling me Nightwing?" And she says, "Because we're not a team anymore. Like that's who you are now. You're not Robin." And
Yeah.
I loved seeing a bunch of like how the Teen Titans have developed into almost like how the Justice League was, where they are training teen heroes into becoming Teen Titans. Um,
Mhm.
and I like that he has this cold kind of shoulder to him. And it was funny because as I'm reading this, my first thought was like, wow, sounds a lot like Bruce Wayne. Like his dialogue, his structure, how serious he is about this is very Bruce Wayne like. And then of course Starfire goes ahead and says, wow, you sound a lot like him. And he goes, who? Like Bruce? And I'm like, holy shit, I just literally had that thought in my head, and the writers already put it into the story.
Yeah, and there's a ton going on. I mean, you're jumping back and forth in the timeline.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so and you kind of open up with you see the I think it's Titan Island is something happened there. We don't know what it is, but there's markers there of the Teen Titan members, that seemingly passed away from whatever event happened. I think you were gonna be yet to see that. So it opens up really interesting, and as you go through the story, you kind of see Raven talking to somebody in a cell. But if you kind of look at there's two instances where you have Raven talking to somebody in a cell, and you have um, you know, Nightwing talking to somebody in a cell. And if you really look at it, because I was looking at it earlier, and I was like, those don't look like the same person. That
Right.
because one looks like a young individual, and then one looks like a more developed individual. So I'm not sure if that's different parts of the timeline, or if they're just two different prisoners, or if it's the same prisoner in the the artwork just looks a little bit off. And that's and the person that they're talking to in the cell in the end we learned is Red X. We don't know his true identity yet. We just
Mm-hmm.
know the moniker of Red X, and it's something that you know Nightwing bear the mantle of him before. And he makes a point, where it stood, Red X stood for something, and I'm here to bring that back or whatever,
Yeah. Well,
whatever. So,
they jump in the past because they do the now and and then there's like a
mhm,
situation where the Titans had to take down who is someone who's in the Teen Titan Corps that they know who's wearing the Red X mask, because obviously it has to be a student, because in the beginning of like Robin's party they showed in the past, there's all the Teen Titan people and he gets his mask. He's gifted to him, and Starfire says, "Oh, a kid did some research. I didn't get you this as a gift." And so some kid likes him as Red X and like understands the value of it. So it has to be some sort of student. That's why I don't think it's Damien.
well, the only reason, well, there's multiple reasons why I think it's Damien, because at the end of Teen Titans run, that he kind of resented the mantle of Robin,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of went on his own. He was leaving clues. So he was leaving clues for the Titans, and what the clues were they were coordinates to, I think, an old Titans facility. Um, and I think that's why in the end he's saying that it was his fault or something, because from what I think happened is he led his team, the Teen Titans there. Something happened which he takes the blame for himself because he
Mm-hmm.
led them there. And the dialogue that makes me think that it's Damien, is when he's talking about like you're 3 steps ahead, or I was 4 steps ahead of you, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you go back, I was looking at it the other day. You go back in the Teen Titans books, Robin Damian Wayne is talking like that all the time to his teammates. "Oh, I'm 5 steps ahead of you. I'm 4 steps ahead of you." So that's kind of what makes me think it's Damien in a way. But like I said, we're gonna see. I guess we're gonna see soon enough. Um, this one, I think when you read it, you might be confused in the beginning. It leaves you with a lot of questions, and it leaves you interested. It
Yeah.
left me interested in to see what's gonna happen with the next books, and obviously the academy, the Teen Titans Academy, I think it is,
Mm-hmm.
or the Titans Academy. So there's a lot of new characters, and you have Beast in there, an
Yeah.
amalgamation of Cyborg and Beast Boy, and we
Mm-hmm.
don't know how that came to be. So there's a lot of things that are unanswered in that book that leave a lot of questions, and I think it's kind of making the reader base very curious. And I mean, that's good from a writing standpoint. You always want the readers to follow along and see what's going to happen.
Yeah. At the I'm re-looking at that at the scene where Nightwing lets Red X out, which also we got to mention he puts on um Deathstroke's like mask, like bandana thing at the end too.
Yep.
That's crazy. Yeah, I think they are I think this is maybe a different time for Raven's training, because it looks, I know, actually I think it is the same. Never
Because
mind. It is the same.
well, Well, if you look at the facial features of the prisoner in the first when Raven's talking to him, it looks like a younger boy. And
Mm-hmm.
if you look at the last one, when Nightwing's talking to him, it looks like a man.
Walking out of there. Yeah,
So,
yeah.
like I said, it could just be the artwork, but, that's that's kinda what I was curious about. And let me see if I can find where when Raven's talking to him, I think he was like, "You're 3 steps behind your team," or something like
Oh,
that.
I just had it. It
Um,
was.
oh, and she's like, "Maybe we are done here. Look, I appreciate how you've helped, me prepare. I couldn't have gone this far this fast without your strategic thinking." And Damien's a master strategist, so
Mm,
and where else was it? So, let's see.
yeah, and he calls her Miss Raven. I mean, it has to be someone who is younger than the original Titans. I want to make things right. Also, I love that whole scene.
Yeah.
I love seeing Raven actually.
Yeah. Yeah, so he said like 7 steps back, your team moved left, but you moved right. So, just the dialogue on that, and then he says something at the end, I think. Oh, when you actually see Red X and whatever, he has like a cocoon. He has somebody in a cocoon where he's like, "I'm not gonna let you kill this team member."
Yeah,
Um, you know, I won't let you kill one of your students, and you don't know what's led to that. And I guess we're gonna learn that. He goes, I don't know what it is, but I know who's inside, and I plotted it out. I'm 3 moves ahead of you. So, and that kind of dialogue just kind of makes me lean towards Damien a little bit more. I thought it
mm-hmm.
was Clown Hunter because you have Clown Hunter, which is, he has the X in his head, the X haircut, in his head, and then he has the X on his mask. He has an X on his jacket, a red X on his jacket. So it's just like, but we'll find out.
Yeah. And then the other issue that I read that I really enjoy that I wanted to talk about was Dark Detective.
Oh yeah,
And I wanted to bring this issue up, not so much for the Zatanna second story, but more the fact that we get, we're getting thrown into this huge Gotham world with this militia taking over Gotham, right? Getting rid of all of the heroes, any mass vigilantes, because we're seeing it in Robin Eternal, where he is fighting. He's like he thinks he's the last of the Bat family. We see it in Harley Quinn, where she's literally helping them hunt down enemies that they can't they can't catch. So this whole
right.
world is just dwindling away, and so I like this issue a lot because you basically get the whole inner monologue of Bruce Wayne, being like, Bruce Wayne is dead, Batman is dead. It is announced on this giant screen in the middle of Gotham, and basically he's like, I'm a ghost, and what would a ghost do? And basically he decides
Yeah,
to
and then
go ahead.
to fight back or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and then you get to see Peacekeeper number 1, in
Yes.
this, so I have a feeling he's the main peacekeeper, and a book opens up with everybody seeming to think, Bruce Wayne and Batman are both dead, um, and then, you see him get shot, and he goes to, like, some, like, safe house doctor, looks like. Have you seen Hotel Artemis
Yes,
with Dave Bautista?
I have.
It kinda reminded me of that, like, like, when they go to the safe house,
Mm-hmm.
see the doctor,
Yeah.
that's what it kinda reminded me of. You see Bruce Wayne running down the street, he's holding his side where he's shot.
Mm-hmm. And he's like, I can pay, and he pays with cash. Um, I like
Yeah.
it made me think of the doctor from John Wick.
Right, right, right.
But it's also, you also saw, like, for example, like when we read like Clown Hunter, he he was recommended to a psychiatrist, or to oh, sorry, not psychiatrist, to a nurse who was helping healing him when he was hurt. So Batman knows all these little nook and crannies for like quick emergencies.
Right. And I thought the artwork was really good in this one. It was like, more of the artwork in line that I kind of like, my
Hmm.
more my flavor. So, I really dug the artwork. The story was easy. It wasn't, like, super difficult to get through.
Yeah, a lot of
So
these future
it was one of
states
my
have been
more.
doing that.
Yeah, so it's some of the ones you just there's too much going on, where I think it would discourage a newer reader, like, "Okay, man, this is just too much. I don't know, enough background on it." you kind of get discouraged. But this one was really easy to read. It was a fun read, and it was a good read. In my opinion, the art was good, the dialogue was good. I love the story. So, um, yeah, man. Wh- what was your favorite part of the book?
Definitely when he obviously my favorite part was when he sees that guy getting mugged, so he fights all those hoodlums and he
Yeah,
has his jacket, and then the menagerie comes up and goes like stop all movement. And my favorite line is when he goes the ghost of what you once were, why not, aren't there some ghosts who aren't known or aren't that don't who don't know that they're even dead. Like I love that line because that's like this whole thing. The beginning of the book is him being like Bruce Wayne is dead and Batman's dead, so like I'm just a ghost, what do I do, like should I continue or not continue? And then he rips off his jacket and then we get the full modified bat costume, which honestly I really want to do this for Comic-Con this coming up year, either
yeah,
this year or next year, is do a bat dark detective, because all he's literally bare bones. He's got his belt, he's got looks like a painted chest piece that he painted a bat on, and his gauntlets and like some like tactical pants, and that's it. And it's like bare bones Batman. Like when we saw Batman 105, where he's like, I have to figure out a new way of being Batman because I don't have my fortune, I don't have the cave, I can't buy all my new stuff if I break it. And now we're seeing Bruce Wayne having to go more of the detective side and let Tim Fox be the more extravagant Batman with all the toys.
yeah. So you're gonna you see that dynamic of the magistrate working throughout multiple titles in the future state, and now we're gonna see dynamic of multiple Batmans running around, um, you know, kind of fighting in Gotham City. And to your saying, like I think that was my favorite part where you kind of see a turn in Bruce Wayne where it's like, okay, I'm kind of done hiding. Here's my stand. Let's see what Ghost can do.
Mm-hmm. When he jumps off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the magistrate and the peacekeepers are super interesting. Idea. And I think I like where they're going with it. And you see more of that in the Nightwing book. What was it? The Nightwing book that we read
Mm-hmm.
this week? Yeah, where they're it's like they have like sentinel like like sentinel magistrate like vehicles or these sentinel bots. You see that in the Nightwing future state, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, are you talking about Robin Eternal with Tim
I'm
Drake?
sorry, yeah, Robin Eternal, not Nightwing. Yeah, sorry,
Um,
Robin Eternal.
yeah, that that was a good book too. That book was an easy read. Also, I highly recommend that one too. That was a quick, easy read. I mean, I noticed my books for this future state that I like are the ones that don't have so much pre context. Especially being someone who's just picking back up reading comics again for the first time in decades. There's definitely a lot of context that I'm not aware of in detail, just know of from just hearing other people talk about it. But I like just how simple to the point. It's establishing the time, the situation, and what we have to deal with. And that's what I like about Robin. And Tim Drake is basically being like, I'm the last of the Bat family because he doesn't know Bruce Wayne's alive. He said,
Yeah,
Bruce Wayne's dead. And he goes, Damian. And then he doesn't even explain what he thinks is happening with Damian. Nightwing is off doing his own thing. And so he has to need the help of his friends that he had from when they did We Are the Robins. Um, and basically go on. And I recommend reading that book simply just because of the end. The end was really, really fucking cool.
yeah, man, and you kind of see them working like throwback to Jason Todd of throwing him into the Lazarus pits and reviving him.
Mm-hmm.
You have this Lazarus residue, which they're kind of infusing into these like Sentinel,
To rebuild
uh,
them.
yeah, to make them pretty much indestructible. And then in the end, you see kind of, you see Robin kind of get knocked down and knocked into that Lazarus residue, and you just see him at the last page just like oozing in it while he's getting up. I thought that was such as
Yeah.
I think for me that was probably my favorite like scene in all of Future State for right now, as far as I can tell.
Mm-hmm.
Um, as far as I've read, that for me was my favorite kind of like scene and depiction, where you just see like you see him just oozing in that the Lazarus residue, and kind of makes you wonder like where they're going with the next.
Well, it's crazy because like he goes against this bot, and like Stephanie Brown makes an appearance in this book, also spoiler, and
Right.
she's helping him, and it's I mean like, Tim Drake is more the detective than any of the other Robins, but seeing him fight, and they're called cybers, and so basically they're using these things like Marcus said to
Cyber, yeah.
like to make him they're giant sentinel guys to fight these vigilantes, and I love it because he literally grabs Tim, chokes him, and just slams him on the ground and cracks his neck. You've never really seen anyone just like of that skill level like Tim just get literally knocked out like that quick, and he gets boom cracked and literally eyes rolling back in his head like dead, and everyone's freaking out, and he's literally lying there, and he gets back up and he goes round two, and then it says next. I was like, really? I'm like, that's how you're gonna end the book? Like, it's just starting
Yeah.
to get good, and then you end it.
Yeah, and I think, yeah, dude, that left you on a real good cliffhanger. And I think for anybody that's like looking to, uh, a new reader into a book, I think that would be my suggestion because it was just such an easy read. You don't really need to know any background. You
Mm-hmm.
go straight into the story. The artwork's good. The story's extremely good, and it was not like a huge long, book. So it's an easy read.
Yeah.
So
So out of all of them, those are probably my favorites that I've read this week. I'm gonna definitely catch up and read the other ones. Like I didn't read Green Lantern, um, and then I didn't read Wonder Woman and Superman. I didn't have time to read that one.
I thought that one was okay.
It's Jonathan Kent, right?
Yeah, Jonathan Kent and Yara Flor. That one was okay. It wasn't my favorite. The Superwoman. I read that one.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that one wasn't for me either. The story was okay. I read
Yeah,
it. The story was okay. It just wasn't my cup of tea. I didn't like it at all.
yeah. So I
And
just
then we go ahead.
no, go ahead, go ahead.
Oh, and then we had the Justice League. That did you read the Justice League?
Justice League, I did actually. Justice League was the first one that I read. I read the Justice
Yeah.
League because I was super interested because everyone's talking about the basically what's making this league different is that they're learning from the mistakes from the first league. So everyone from the first league is gone. So
Right.
we have Andy Curry, who's the daughter of Aquaman. We have I wrote her name down. I can never remember the Green Lantern's name.
Oh, it's Sojourn. It's Joe Milner or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. Joe
Let
Milner.
me let me look.
No,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
Joe Milner as Green Lantern.
yeah,
We have a multiverse Flash, which we don't really know which Flash this is. We just know he's from a different.
Jess Chambers. I think remember that book that we were talking about, the DC Multi Maryverse or something like that.
Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, he was in there.
Yeah, yeah, that was the first appearance of that character, which is Jess Chambers. So that's the
Okay,
Flash that is in part of this Justice League.
yeah. And then of course we have Tim Fox, which of course they don't mention the name Tim Fox, but I thought this issue was interesting because he doesn't have his face covered, so it does show that he's a black Batman. Because the next Batman, his face was covered.
Yeah. So
But
yeah, and you get the whole dynamic of the new team, and like you said, it's like they have a different set of rules, and you kind of have that underlying theme where you see Jonathan Kent, like he doesn't understand, like we're supposed to be a team, and they're not even using each other's names. They don't even know each other's names,
mm-hmm.
for their own safety. But you kind of see that dynamic play out. You see Yara Flor, the new Wonder Woman. She's kind of like like to me, in my opinion, a star in this book. I thought it was a fun read too. This one was an easy read too, and you have, you know, you leave on this one with a cliffhanger too, where you have
A Hyper
this
Clan.
group, yeah, the Hyper Clan impersonating, they're neutralizing and capturing the new Justice League members, and then impersonating them, which leads you to believe, what their whole plan is. When they're brought back by the Legion of, no, what was it?
Legion of Doom. It's the
Yeah,
new
Legion of
Legion
Doom.
of Doom. It's
Yeah,
Tio
yeah,
Moro.
yeah,
He basically
yeah.
basically he's like, we hate them, we hate the new league. Because the Justice League, basically their rules are not to get too close. We only come together when we absolutely need it. We don't enlist any new people, we just keep it just us. The Legion of Doom is trying to summon these magical creatures from the they're called the Hyper Clan, and
Yeah.
the Justice League ends up stumbling on the whole new Legion of Doom murdered. like
Yeah.
destroyed, like to the point where everyone's like, this is unusual because you can't defeat some of these guys this easy, and they're just all wiped. And then you end
Yeah,
up,
dude.
and then they end up capturing the new league by capturing them in this red laser and just utterly like it looks like they get like incinerated, but I think they're getting teleported to somewhere else.
Yeah, it almost like looks like the Phantom Realm or something like that. Because their whole backstory, they were stuck somewhere, in prison somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you open up the book right away with the new, you know, Legion of Doom just being completely obliterated, which is like right away just gets your attention.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, so I mean, I thought that was a good read. So I mean, obviously, the ones that we talked so far are all really easy reads and are highly recommended reads. And then even the side stories within Justice League and Dark Detective, those are also good little side stories. Those are kind of more just like if you want to learn more, like if you're a fan of Zatanna and you want a little bit more bonus in your book, definitely read that. Other than that, um, that's what I liked so far from Future State for this week, or at least from what I read.
Yeah, what were your favorite books?
Dark Detective was probably my favorite for this week.
Mhm.
It would go Dark Detective, Robin, Teen Titans, Justice League, the four that we talked. If I had to rank them, only because I like the fact that we're getting literally a more on the boots on the ground style Bruce Wayne. I mean, he has his grappling hook and he's super unprotected. This is the most raw we've seen him in a while. And then the other ones I like just because of the that Lazar pit reference that we saw in Robin, and they were good, easy reads and good quality reads. So that's why I like these ones the most.
Yeah, and I think I was surprised most by Robin Eternal. I wasn't expecting that good of a book.
Mm-hmm.
But I think my favorite, obviously, I'm biased, so it's gonna be Dog Detective, and then
Mm-hmm.
2 and 3, I have to go with Robin Eternal. My third and fourth one are interchangeable. Between Justice League and Teen Titans, and Teen Titans because of the whole, you know,
Red
leaving you with
X.
so many questions and keeping you interested. Like, I mean, these kind of books, they have, they bring out a lot of, different kind of interest, in the way they end. I mean, like I said, Robin Eternal was just a great read. Leaves you with the cliffhanger of, you know, what's gonna happen, to Tim Drake, with the next issues in him in the Lazarus residue, and then you have all the questions and curiosity with Teen Titans. The whole dynamic of what happened to Titan Island, and who is Red X,
Mm-hmm.
what brought them to this point. So it's almost like they're building backwards in a sense, because you already led up to this point where you see everything that's already played out. So in Dark Detective, obviously, because I'm just a Batman fan period, it was a good book.
Yeah, I
In
100%
Justice
agree.
League, in Justice League, you get to see the whole new dynamic of, you know, all these new characters being put together on a team, and right away they get wiped out. So I don't know, that one it was really good to me too.
That one definitely had
So
some good surprises. That was I think that was the first one I read. I think I read Justice League first, and because I was kind of savoring Robin and Dark Detective. Dark Detective was the second one I read, but I agree. So that's I mean those are my takes on the new reads.
yeah. And we both didn't read Green Lantern, so I mean, I don't really, I can't form an opinion on something I didn't we didn't
Yeah,
read. So
I mean, I mean
that could have
obviously
been the best book. I don't know, but
yeah. I mean hey, like I mean I took it. I mean when the first set came out, I read Swamp Thing because I'm like I guess I'll read it. But granted, there was also more books that came out this release than the first one. The first one we had 4 issues. This one we had a lot more. Um,
Mhm.
and I like I said, I've never really read Green Lantern. I like even when I read Flash, and even when I read Flash Future State, I was like completely lost on like the context. But so I didn't read Green Lantern, but I think of Green Lantern, I definitely am going to probably go back and read at least on the next couple of days because um, as much as I was surprised how much I loved Swamp Thing, I'm sure that it'll be a story that I'm like, I don't really read Green Lantern. I'm gonna read it and be like, whoa, I need to watch.
Yeah,
I need to
and
read.
the good thing,
I need to read all Green Lantern.
yeah, and the and the good thing about today is tomorrow we already get a new set of books coming out tomorrow, so we got our work cut out for us,
I know.
um,
It's like procrastinating on
for next
homework.
week already.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, or for this week already rather. So.
Absolutely.
you know.
But yeah, so that's our take, guys. If you agree or disagree with any of our opinions, or want to contribute to what you liked or what you felt like you liked in the future states that we've covered, or even if you think you found something on newsworthy that you like to share with us, please go and check us out in the comments of our YouTube page. We're also on Instagram and also Twitter. Instagram, we're Beyond the Cowl. Twitter, we're Beyond Cowl. And if you're looking for us on YouTube, if you're hearing us on a different platform, it's also Beyond the Cowl. So let us know. Let us know what you think and if you agree or disagree.
Yeah, and give us your thoughts and opinions on who you think the new this character Red X is, and what were your favorite reads, and tell us why. Let us know, if you want to hear something else, or go into deeper discussion about something else and other topics. Let us know.
Yeah. Until next time, we'll see you later.